Start off with the E4, ZHBZ, Zibs. Got a Sicilian here. Goes where the E6 Sicilian. I still play the open variation. He plays a Scheveningen setup. Dare I play the Kara's attack? I guess I do. Huh. Keeps this knight from coming to this square. So his knight, I guess, can come out to G6. Let's see, if he puts a knight on E5, it can't come here, here, or here. So I really don't have to worry about it. Let's just continue developing. I mean, after he puts his knight here, I'm planning to just push the f-pawn. So let's continue. I'm going to castle queenside here, I think. Yeah, there's the f4 move. I think I said f5, but I meant f4. I need to defend against this battery here, so now we'll get ready to castle. And I've got a ready-made attack with h4 and h5. Yeah, I don't have to castle right away. Let's go ahead and push that knight back. See where it goes. Okay, so what do we do here? I've taken over the right side of the board. Should be good for me. Yeah, let's go ahead and castle. We'll get this pressure on the center here, I guess. Knight here. Aha, he's saying I can't put the knight there. I think I can. I think I can put the knight there. Yeah, let's take here first. Don't want to give him the chance to trade off the knight. And we'll go here. He's playing really fast for someone who's got such a strange position here. He's got to move the queen. I guess he's just looking for the square to move it to. Oh, he actually defends. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I assumed he moved the queen and I just take this pawn. Not so simple, huh? Okay, back here. Got to move the queen again. Maybe I'll just put a rook on the f file and push the f pawn, or just push it now. I don't need to move the rook. When I push the f pawn, okay, well he's attacking the h pawn, so let's deal with that. When I push the f pawn, I do have to worry about leaving the g pawn under defended, but right now it's defended adequately. He's hitting this pawn, but that's defended. So here we go. He brings the queen back. Why is he doing that? Okay, let's just open up the F file. Should be good. just put my queen over here and mate there. He can take here with the knight. Okay, well, we'll go back to this idea. I'll just take this pawn. Take the bishop. Yeah, he's still got this adequately defended. But I can take the bishop and then bring another knight in. Let's see, he's got a loose rook here, so queen here would be with tempo, but I don't have another target on this side to attack. There he goes. Yeah, he's just defending that pawn tenaciously. Do I want to take that bishop? I guess I do. So let's see, if I take this knight, he can take with either the queen or the knight, but not with the pawn. Oh no, he could take with the pawn too. The knight's defending there. See, there's this square. This is interesting. There's bishop here. Just pushing the pawn forward. What does that do? Anything? Let's try and get some pressure here. I had let go of that pawn, huh? So I can take here, but I can't. I need to save my queen first. Oh, well, there's this double attack here. This will at least force him to do something. Probably bring the knight back to where it defends the rook. Yeah, my opponent has a funny setup, but it has survived. So he defended the queen. He defended the rook and the knight with the queen. Okay, so this is hanging, and this is hanging. Oh, it's not hanging. Knight takes, knight takes. This is hanging. There's always something. He resigned. Okay. I was beginning to wonder if he was like using a computer, because he seemed to be finding all these good moves in weird positions, but a computer would not suggest that move. Let's play another game. We can play a rapid game this time. Okay, we'll try D4. Maxim 2021. Oh, look, my rating's up to 2030. That might be a high for me. A new rating record. Okay, we got a Slav defense. You know, usually the bishop comes out here when it comes out of the pawn chain. Let's bring my knight out. He can take here and double my pawns if he wants to. But he gives up the bishop pair to do that, so I'm going to ignore that threat and and start making some threats of my own. My next move is going to be queen here, putting pressure on this diagonal and on this pawn. But I needed the knight out first to help to make this a real threat to take here. Okay, Maxim, what's the next step in your strategy? You could just defend the center, yeah, that's one way to do it. Okay, so now when I bring my queen out here, if I do it, this is defended. Right, pawn takes, knight takes, queen takes, yeah, all defended. So, but it is a threat on this pawn. Does he retreat his bishop, bring his queen over? Well, the other thing I could do in this position is bring my knight out here. Ask that bishop where it wants to relocate to. That's the other reason for leaving this pawn back. So normally, so if that pawn were forward one step, then there would be a pin here. He didn't move the bishop. Now it is defended, but normally normally black is not so quick to give up a good bishop. So if I take it, he takes with the knight, and I get a free tempo move. I could play f3. Maybe knight can't go here or here, and there's no check. You have to be careful about f3 because if there's a check with a knight here, it could be deadly. f3, the knight goes back, and then e4. And I've got that covered. So when I play e4 here, if I play it, he takes, I can take back with the pawn, defended by the knight, or I could just take with the knight. And then get the bishop out to this good diagonal. He could give me an isolated queen's pawn. I don't have to play that right away. I could bring the bishop out. Here, I'm starting to worry about this pawn over here, so let's clear this up first. It's reasonable timing now, I think. Now I could go here with the bishop. He kicks it. I could come back around this way and still have the option of playing. I still have the option of playing e4. He played that sequence very quickly. Okay, so he's piling up on this pawn, but I've got it covered. Let's play e4. You got some advanced pawns on the king's side here, kicking my bishop around, but it'll make it difficult for his king to find a home, a safe home. And this bishop on f2 is doing a good job defending the center against potential threats. And I think I will take back with a pawn here rather than the knight. So I'll have a pair of pawns in the center that are sort of like hanging pawns, no pawns on either side. Normally the hanging pawns are on the C and D files rather than the D and E files. And if I get into trouble, I can push the E pawn forward to E5. This knight can come here. Actually, it can't come there, can it? As long as this knight is blocking the defense of that square. Okay, well, Maxim is taking a moment to think. Yeah, so he brings the knight out. What now? I could play E5 as I mentioned. How about we go for the check here, though? Let's see what he wants to do. And then just get castled. Yep. Okay, he's defending the center. I wonder, did I have an opportunity to win a pawn there? I don't think so. But it looks like he was a little worried about it. If I take now, he'll take back with the pawn. Maybe I did have it. Yeah, let's see. Without that pawn there, I could take. Yeah, I did have the chance to win a pawn there. Oh, well. Okay. Just keeping his knight out of these squares. And now, where do I want the bishop? Maybe here? Going to bring a rook to the C file next. This knight can go from here to here. Okay, he did go castle on the king side, so at least now I know where my target is. Can push this pawn forward, drop the bishop back, put the queen here, and checkmate, right? But first, let's get the rook on the C file. This is nice, I think. Let's try and set up this battery I'm trying to get. The reason I said it's nice is because now I can push this pawn forward with the tempo on the knight. And maybe he was thinking of taking and unleashing the queen on this pawn, but the knight blocks the bishop. And anyway, when I move my bishop back, my queen and bishop are solidly protecting there. Okay, so the question is, should I play queen d3 first or the pawn up first? If I put the pawn up, the knight will have to move. And it can go here, which would be losing after queen up, because I would have threatened to take the knight. Well, he can always play f5 to block that. I'll have to take en passant. If I have a pawn on e5 and he plays f5, I can take en passant, and that reopens a diagonal. So it's not a great defense. So a pawn forward, knight could go here. Then queen up. And then what does he do to protect this square? Yeah. Yeah, I think I go ahead and do this pawn up first. His knight will go back somewhere. Yeah, that I thought was losing. So from this square, the knight can't really go anywhere. So when I attack it with my queen, moving the knight is not an option. And defending the knight, how can he defend it? The only move he has is en passant. Oh, that's his idea. I see it now. I go here with the queen. He plays the f-pawn forward. I take en passant, and he takes back with the knight. And then that defends this square. My queen can come in here. Okay, plan B is I could take first. King goes there, and then the queen comes up with check. But there's no big follow-up. So we'll go here. Yep, so my queen can come into this square. And it's not easily chased away. Although he can bring his queen over, huh? So what's the deal here? If I could get rid of this knight, then I would have it. So let's maneuver this bishop around to threaten the knight. Yes, weakened king side is a severe problem, I think. His bishop has almost no moves. If the king tries to run, the queen check here will win the bishop. Oh, unless the king goes back. And I can still play knight or bishop here. Okay, I can take the rook. We'll give him that one. So queen up. So bishop here. Threatening to here. Let's put this rook here. He said, thank you in the chat. I said, no problem. I'm just thinking if there's some kind of explosion of pieces here with the queen coming in, this queen coming to defend, maybe at the end of the day after everything is traded, I can take here. Okay, so, oh, he brings that knight back. Okay, so queen here, queen takes, bishop takes. then it's his move, but the threat is to take here and then take this pawn. And the bishop here would be guarding that square, so he can't defend with the rook. Okay, I put the queen there and he doesn't take, then I can take, and then take the pawn. Okay, yeah, if I just take the knight, it doesn't really do anything. If I put my queen here, he takes with the knight. I take back. And he trades queens. Well, I can always take with the rook here, I guess. So queen here, knight takes, rook takes, queen takes. Oh, he'll try and move this knight with tempo. Let's put the bishop there for the moment. Yeah, maybe I should have just taken the exchange and grabbed that rook. My attack, I thought, looked pretty promising, but okay. So my idea is to put the queen here. If he takes, the bishop comes here, and this rook looks like it'll run out of squares. After it moves to the side, this bishop comes in here. Okay, so let's move a little more quickly here. Aha. So I can trade queens. He's going to take back with the king. Then I don't get the bishop there. And we're back to this idea, I guess. Yeah, anyway, in any case, the rook is defending that pawn, so it looks like he's holding his structure together here, and I am in danger. Let's resolve the tension on the c file while I still can. Well, he put up a good defense. I have to give him credit for that. Maybe my attacking approach was a little too simplistic. I could have also considered going after these pawns, not that way, going after these pawns with moves like that, just trying to weaken his king side further. So I think, yeah, he could just dissolve everything. He chooses to chase the queen rather than trade it. Probably keeping things complicated since I'm lower on time than he is. Reasonable strategy. I am going to take. And put this rook here. He actually can't really take the bishop in this situation, because after pawn takes, the knight has to move and my queen comes in here with check. Maybe it's not fatal, but bishop here would be pretty good for me. I thought. I thought this would be good. Because I do get the check. Maybe the check doesn't amount to enough. He eliminated the yeah, when I put the bishop here, the queen can go to this square. Let's bring the knight here for a second. Hold on to this pawn. Or so I thought. So, yeah, his bishop is still guarding this square. I can take here with check. And that's fatal. All right. Interesting game. Okay, Eric, just let's take a quick look at what the computer thought of this. There was a point where I could have grabbed a pawn in the center. I want to see if it was actually the case. Yeah, look at that back and forth towards the end there. Okay, so I was doing pretty good most of the game. Let's back up and see a couple of critical points here. Yeah, he played a very peculiar opening. It did not like, yeah, it just wanted him to retreat the bishop. When I went after the bishop, that makes the most sense. And then f3, it didn't like my f3, but I thought it was interesting. Not so bad. And then, yeah, it didn't like that. And here, I could have, instead of castling here, I could have taken the pawn. Doesn't give that as the best move, does it? It likes e5 better than taking. Is there a problem with taking? Yeah, it just leaves me with these doubled pawns, I guess. Queen check there is a problem. Okay. So I didn't really have a chance to win a pawn there. Let's go back to the game. I just castled. Oh, that's the advantage of castling, is it gets you away from those checks, things like that. So I'm good here. Again, it wants me to push the pawn in the center, but I'm just winning through all this section. Then we get down to this part where I'm starting to get low on time, and my advantage is just kind of fading away. Yeah, right here is where he gave up the exchange. But I let him take it back. So then he came up with this queen move. And it's just not the best moves. That one, it really didn't like the queen in there. Didn't like the bishop there. Okay, what should he do to take advantage of moving the bishop back? He should. Let's back up. Okay, so my bishop should have retreated along this diagonal. Instead, I retreated here. And then his move is doubling the rooks. I guess that's good. What was best? Rook e to c8. Okay, that's what he did. And then I was just... so yeah, the move that gave the advantage back to him was when I put the queen there and then retreated the bishop. So he's a little better here. But then he didn't trade. And so I traded. I was just trying to simplify things while I was low on time here. Then, yeah. So it thinks he should just take here, which he did. Okay, so that opposing of the rook there is just wrong. Probably because it loses this pawn in the center. What should I play instead? Rook to f1. Okay, and I'm still in good shape in this position. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be good for it shouldn't be good for black to have his king side open like this, but I still have to play correctly. Anyway, so after my move, the opposing rooks, and he trades. Yeah, it brings he wins a pawn here basically, and then his mistake is grabbing the pawn. Taking the pawn is a mistake. You should continue running with the king. Get the king to safety, and then worry about grabbing material. So when he grabbed the pawn, yeah, I'm actually a little better here. And then, because this pawn, I get it. So he never actually won a pawn there. But if he'd been a little more patient, maybe he could have won that pawn. It's a little bit weak. And then, yeah, that's a double blunder. So here, his best move is to move the king to e7. Yeah, and then this is a +1. Slight advantage to me, but not fatal. Oh, yeah, pick up another pawn there. Anyway, with the opposite colored bishops and queens on the board, could be a draw. Anyway, that's the end of this session. See y'all next time. Bye now.